Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Please sit down. We love you too. We love you too. Well, I want to thank everybody. This is great. And, you know, they have me really working. I gave a speech and a roundtable, then another roundtable, then another speech, and here we are. And then we go home, but I don't want to leave your state because I love your state. So maybe we'll just stay, Adam, right? So I want to thank Dean Heller, who's been an incredible senator, worked so hard with us to get the taxes cut. Very simple. You know, I talk about reform, but it's really tax cut. There was plenty of reform also, but we had one of the great really the greatest tax cut and reforms ever in our country's history, the biggest. And so I want to thank you. That was a fantastic job. Dean Heller. And your Attorney General, Adam, who's running for governor, I think you're going to do great. I think you're head and shoulders above. I think you're going to do great. I want to thank a friend of mine, Steve Witkoff. You know, people don't realize Steve started out as a lawyer, very good lawyer, top lawyer in New York, and then he said, I'm going to go in the real estate business because I can do this too. He saw me do it. And he said, if Trump can do it, I guess I can do it, right? Steve was he was a great real estate lawyer. And he represented a lot of us from the Manhattan real estate world. And one day he said, hey, maybe I'll do this. And he bought a little building and it worked out. Then he did another one and it worked out. And now he's done a lot of them and he's become a very wealthy, successful man. And he's my pal. And it's nice that you're here, Steve. Thank you very much. Really great. Special guy. So I want to just tell you that what we've done has not been done before. We've created a lot of different things. We're going to talk about taxes, but just briefly, regulation cuts, the biggest in history. Nobody's ever cut regulations. We're talking about 511 days so far. And you can go 4 years, you can go 8 years, you can go 16 years. Doesn't make any difference. Nobody's cut regulations like we have. Nobody's created tax cuts like we have. Nobody's going to protect your Second Amendment like we will. Every single element. You know, for a lot of the small business owners, and to me this is very important, the estate tax, the small business owners, the farmers, all of the people that we love and we cherish, no more estate tax. The old days they had to go out and get financing and put it up right up to the neck. And then they had to pay interest, and in many cases they couldn't do it. And Steve, they'd lose their farms, they'd lose their businesses, they'd lose whatever. And we've cut the estate tax, and for the smaller businesses, there is no estate tax whatsoever. So families can leave their business to their sons and daughters. The Heritage Foundation just came out recently, and they said that we've already implemented 64% of our top agenda items, and that's ahead of anybody, including Ronald Reagan. So we've done a lot of work in a very short period of time. And, you know, the bottom line is America is open for business. I got elected on Make America Great Again. We started using America First, and that's what we're doing on trade. We're renegotiating some of these horrible trade deals that we have with other countries. We have some of the worst deals I've ever seen. Whether it's China, the European Union, Mexico, Canada, you name it, we have a bad deal. And we're changing those deals. We lost last year $800 billion with a B, $800 billion on trade. And in fact, I want to be very precise because Steve is such a great lawyer. It's $817 billion to be exact. That's big money, even in the world of real estate, Steve, right? That's big money. That makes everything we do like a little tiny peanut. And we can't do that. We can't do that, and we're not going to do that. So we're negotiating deals. The steel industry, I don't know if you've been seeing what's happening, but the steel industry is coming back. United States Steel is expanding or building brand new plants and beautiful new expansions. They haven't done it in 35 years. Another company, a wonderful steel company, just announced a $500 million plant today. Another one's going into Ohio. We have Ohio, Pennsylvania. We have all of these incredible places. They're seeing the steel industry come back, and I need it to come back. We need it for defense. You know, steel isn't like some other industry. Steel we need. Aluminum we need. We're having tremendous activity in the world of aluminum now. So we put a 25% tax or tariff on steel coming in. They were dumping steel all over our country. Now all of a sudden, if they want to dump, that's okay. They have to pay a lot of money to dump. But more importantly, our industry is coming back far faster than we thought. If other countries aren't going to treat us with respect and aren't going to treat us properly on trade, because they haven't, with these massive deficits that we have, the big one is a car tax. They send in cars into our country by the millions and millions and millions, and we pay. I mean, if we send cars to them, they either don't want it or it's a big tax. As an example, if we send a car into China, they charge 25%. When China sends a car to us, we charge 2.5%. Somehow that doesn't work, right? So we're going to change it, and we're going to get along great with China. We're going to get along great with everybody, hopefully, in the end. But we have to change it. It's not fair. It's not fair to our companies. It's not fair to our workers. One of the big things we just did is we had a great meeting, as you know, and a very successful one with North Korea. And the relationship is now very good. We got along really good. The total denuclearization of North Korea, and the process is beginning, and further talks are going on. We're getting the remains back of our great heroes. There have been so many people ask me, could you do it? The remains are coming back. They have over 200 already. This is something we never got anything back, anybody back. And so many, I guess for the most part, it would be the children and the grandchildren. They want to get the remains back of their fathers and their grandfathers. And we're starting that, and it's been really incredible. We got our hostages back. And the New York Times said, well, Obama got hostages back too. Yeah, but he paid $1.8 billion. We didn't pay $1.8 billion. We didn't pay a penny. We paid nothing. Yeah. But at the same time, North Korea was very smart. What they did was very smart, and they made it so that we got them back, and they are now living with their families very happily. That was 2 months ago. They're living very happily with their families, and that was something that was great. And very importantly, most importantly, you haven't had any rockets shot over Japan. You haven't had missiles going over Japan. You haven't had any nuclear tests in the last 7 months. You haven't had any tests of any kind in the last number of months. Sites have been blown up where they had the testing. They're getting rid of their engine site. The engines, these are engines. They call them engines for ballistic missiles. That's going. And step by step, it's really working out well. And most importantly, I have a very good relationship. We have a good chemistry together. We got along very well. He's a smart, tough guy. He's a great negotiator. I think he sees a tremendous future for North Korea, but we want to have it denuclearized, and that's what's happening. So that was a great visit. It was a 2-day visit. It was a great visit. It was really quite something. So we're very happy to be involved, and we'll get it done. We'll get it done. And China helped us at the border. I have to tell you, President Xi really helped us at the border. And Japan, Prime Minister Abe was terrific. And the president of South Korea, we really worked well together, President Moon. And it's a great team. I mean, honestly, it's a great team. And we did things that everybody said were really impossible to do. Nobody would have believed it. If you remember, before I got elected, it sounded like we were going to war with North Korea. And that was a war that could have cost the lives of 50 million people. You know, Seoul, Steve, when we think New York City's big, Seoul, which is 30 miles off the border of North Korea, has 28 million people, Steve, 28 million. So in New York, we have 8 million, and we think New York is big. Seoul has 28 million people. And it's literally not even nuclear distance. It's right there for their, they call them cannons. They have thousands of cannons aimed at Seoul. And we think that everyone's going to be very safe. We'll keep going with this, but everyone's going to be very safe. I think we've made tremendous progress, and it really was a lot quicker than anybody thought possible. So we're doing very well, and I'd like to we'll start off and we can talk about, you can ask questions or make some suggestions, but maybe I'll ask Adam, do you want to start the process?
Sure.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. President, for being here. I wanted to give you an update from the front lines on how Nevada's economy has been soaring over the last few years. We're seeing the results on jobs and the economy firsthand. No state in the country was hit harder by the recession. And today, jobs have come back and businesses stronger than ever. We've been growing by about 40,000 jobs per year. We have our lowest unemployment rate in more than a decade. Right now, manufacturing jobs are growing at the fastest rate, and these are good jobs that are well-paying, that are able to sustain families and hardworking Nevadans. This past year, we saw construction jobs go up by 8%. You're very familiar with the Strip. We see record projects down here and all over Nevada. And we're at a record high for small business jobs. We have over 632,000 jobs and over 18,000 new small business jobs just last year. These important jobs for small mom and pop businesses. Your economic policies are working. Thanks to the tax cuts and less burdensome regulation, America's economy is coming back. I have to say that here in Nevada, we are leading the charge. We've got the fastest growing private sector in the country, and as strong as the national economy is growing, thanks to a lot of these reforms, our job growth rate is nearly double the national average. Wages are at record high, and this proves, Mr. President, that lower taxes and fewer regulations get results. Thank you very much for leading on those reforms. So I would just close with, we still have a lot more to do here, and I know you have a lot more to do for the country, but we need to fight to keep our taxes low, fight to keep finding ways to reduce regulations that do not help our businesses and that are excessive. And I look forward to working together with your administration for our great state. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you, Adam. Very nice. Thank you. Steve, go ahead. After that build-up I gave you, you better do a good job.
Mr. President, first of all, I'd like to thank you for having me here today. It's really, as always, a pleasure to be with you. I'm here to tell a story and echo what the Attorney General talked about a project that we're doing, and it's a success story. So my partner and mutual good friend of the President's, Howard Lauber, and I bought a project, the Fontainebleau Project, which we have now renamed the Drew, after my son Andrew. This is a approximately 9 million square foot project that was 75% built, went through a foreclosure in the financial crisis, 4,000 hotel rooms, that will have a cost of roughly $3 billion to complete, but also that laid dormant since 2008, in large part because of the financial crisis and some other conditions. It's the only project I know in a major city in the United States that has laid dormant for the last 10 or 11 years. Why? All the reasons that you have cited. Poor U.S. GDP growth prior to your administration coming in, pessimism among lenders and equity partners, and a prior administration that certainly, in my view, contributed by talking down Las Vegas. President Trump has changed all of that with the tax reform package and the overall fiscal stimulus that this package represents. The tax reform package, and I know it well, is chock full of stimulative features like expensing, which we haven't seen since the days of Ronald Reagan, opportunity zones, which is something not a lot of people are talking about, and I have to commend you because I think it's going to be invigorating in communities that need to see development, all of which are designed to encourage business activity. Overall, this administration's policies, which also include deregulation, has led to significant GDP growth. Positive business activity is made possible when government, private investors, and labor come together in a way that benefits everybody. Here, on this project, the Fontainebleau, which we will start construction activity in July of 2019, we will create approximately 11,000 jobs in Nevada. That's 3,500 construction jobs. And 7,000 permanent jobs. And we will create a solid investment for ourselves and thereby make a contribution to U.S. GDP growth because of all of this and because of the President's policies. And I would mention one more point about the Drew. I lost my son Andrew to an opioid overdose years ago. The President came to his funeral and came to a Shiva call, and I talked often about this, about his hug. And the Drew is named after my son Andrew. My family is deeply grateful to the President for taking on the fight against substance abuse, which is a pernicious problem, and no one before him took it on. And I think it's just nothing short of incredible. But when this project is finished, my family will dedicate a significant portion of its interest towards this substance abuse fight, so that my son's death will always have meaning. In my view, it is President Trump who has created the conditions for all of these things to happen. So thank you for having me today. I am deeply grateful to you, Mr. President, for your tireless work, for your dedication to this country. It has been my blessing to have a close friendship with you for 30 years, and it is my honor to call you my president.
He did good. He did good. Well, I knew Andrew, and he was a great young man. And he, with a great family, father who loved him, mother who loved him, great people. So I just want to say that it's an honor what you just said. You know, I looked at that site, and then I said, nope, I'm going to run for president instead. But I actually... And did you buy that from Carl?
I did.
From Carl? Well, Carl.
It was some negotiation.
I can imagine. With Carl, it's never easy, but that's great. It's going to be a great success. A beautiful location, and I saw a concept and a design, and it is really going to be a tremendous success. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you.
Barbara, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me to be here. I'm very excited to talk to you all about how the Drew has impacted my life in a positive way. I am a Las Vegas native. I've lived here my entire life. I went to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, graduated in construction management. I met my husband here. I'm raising my 2 boys here. We really love this city, and I'm excited to be in the city. I am a construction project manager for Witkoff Group, and the evolution of how that happened is sort of interesting. Again, when I graduated in construction, the growth and development in Las Vegas was booming, and so I was fortunate enough to be able to work on some of the amazing strip properties that exist today. And unfortunately, over the last 8 years, its construction and development has been slow, and I was fortunate enough to be able to go to the Fontainebleau project and be the property manager there. And a year ago, I met Steve Witkoff when they were looking at acquiring the property, and I was lucky enough to be brought on to their team, in the development team, and I get to work on this incredible, amazing property and resort. And when he brought me on, of course, that brought job security that didn't exist before, increased compensation, and really, future growth development that didn't exist in the preceding years. So I'm really excited to be a part of this project. It's going to be an incredible resort when it's complete, and the team is really working diligently to to bring something amazing to the Las Vegas Strip. And I'm, like I said, a longtime Las Vegas resident. And I'm really excited about what's happening in the city. There's a lot of growth, a lot of development, and it's all very exciting to see happen. And again, thank you for letting me to be here.
Well, thank you very much, Barbara. Thank you very much. I so much want to ask Witkoff what he paid, but I'm not going to do that now. I just want to see where he is relative to what I think he could have bought it for us. I'll ask him after this is out. I know he made a good deal. We have a very special person with us who's become a friend of mine, Alex Acosta. He's the head of the Department of Labor, he's Secretary of Labor, and he's just unveiled a health care plan. You can call it association plan, you can call it whatever you want, but it's going to be millions and millions of people where they're going to have tremendous negotiating rights to buy health care with the insurance companies. You can cross state lines. That means you have a lot more competition. And he's just done a tremendous job as the Secretary of Labor. And I want to ask you to say a few words, Alex, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. And let me just say, this is a great city to be talking about this. Just about 2 hours ago, I met with Mary Beth Seawold, who's the President and CEO of the Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce. And I wanted to talk with her because the President unveiled these association health plans on Tuesday. And on Thursday, I read that Mary Beth was already moving to make these into a reality. And so these are so straightforward and so simple. Right now, small businesses have massive disadvantages in providing health care to their employees. The regulatory burden on small businesses is actually greater than on large companies. Think about that. Small businesses, the engine of growth, have a greater regulatory burden than large companies. And they don't have economies of scale, they don't have bargaining power. But what if the Las Vegas Metro Chamber of Commerce can bring all these small businesses together and bargain on their behalf as if the chamber is the employer offering the benefits to the employees of all the small business members? And Mary Beth has already seen this opportunity and is already taking action. Mary Beth. And her point to me was real simple. After Obamacare, they did a survey of their small businesses. And about a third of them said, we can't afford health care anymore. And in fact, a lot of the small business owners were saying, we're going to have to get a second job just to try to afford health care. And as a result, they went without coverage. And so she sees this as an opportunity for the chamber to empower small businesses to do what they do best, which is to create jobs and to create economic growth. And that's the idea behind association health plans. These are going to be really, really big. Thank you for moving so quickly, Mary Beth.
And she's a great negotiator. Great negotiator. That's good. You're going to have fun. They're all going to be out after. They want that. You know, the insurance companies are going crazy for this, so you're going to have a lot of fun. Good luck. Thanks, Mary Beth. Make a good deal. Please.
My turn. Hello, President. Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Fong, and I'm the founder of Asian Cultural Alliance, a nonprofit community resource center for all Americans across Las Vegas, and the initiator of Nevada official May 18 Asian Culture Day, which are in line of what's next to me, U.S. open for business. By the way, I have some of our country chair, they have came early and wait, and they just love you.
Thank you. Where are they? Thank you.
Yes. I want to thank, yes.
Thank you.
I want to thank Senator Dean Heller for this opportunity, and we need your experience to continue to help our great president for years on end. I'm truly honored to join this roundtable with the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, one of the presidents that we ever have. Mr. President, your tax cut have delivered an enormous impact on our community. I've seen it day in, day out, through my work at the Asian Culture Center, on my professional job as a home inspector. Fewer and fewer people are unemployed, and for the first time in 8 years, housing value are increasing in Nevada. Mr. President, you made a promise, and you kept your promise to make America great again.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you very much, Kevin.
To make America great again. Which our children's future depend on your daily decision. Thank you, Mr. President. Me and my kids are so proud of you. Last, may I offer you, Mr. President, a book. The Magnificent Chinese Jade Pagoda. The author, Ms. Mako, is also among the audience, which we are working very hard to bring to Nevada as a culture piece and the summary of Asian Culture Day. May I?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. He did a good job, right? Did he do a good job? Thank you, Kevin. Very nice. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and continue to be our greatest president in the history.
Oh, thank you.
There we go.
That's tough to beat. Can you beat that, Ryan?
I'll try. I don't know. Be tough. Mr. President, it's an honor to have you back on behalf of Michael and Paula Gahn, who are out of the country, or they would have been here to greet you personally. My name is Ryan Growney. I'm the general manager of the South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa. This is the South Point showroom. Yeah. And we're a large property in the south end of Las Vegas Boulevard, 2,700 employees, 22 nearly hotel rooms, 2,200 hotel rooms, arena, equestrian center with 1,200 horse stalls. So we're talking to my guys here from Silver State, hey. Bowling center, movie theater, it's a large property. And if I could just give two examples, these gentlemen hit on everything that I could have said, but on this property, I can assure you the tax cuts affected our employees and our business. The first is we were excited about the announcement. We know it's going to be good for the economy. We know it's the right move. We wanted to make sure our employees were excited about it. So shortly after the announcement was made, my boss picked up the phone and asked our payroll director, what would it cost us to do a second round of holiday bonus checks? And she says a little over $500,000. And we had just sent them out 3 weeks prior. And he says, please prepare the checks and get them in the employees' hands as soon as possible.
Good.
And that was absolutely immediately a direct result. The second piece of it is something my boss was very happy to do was we hadn't increased the cost of our benefits for our employees in 4 years. But in the last 3 years, for the property, the health insurance costs had gone up 32%, which in a property this size, you can imagine what that number is. So in November, we announced that we were going to pass along some of the expense to the employees. And with the announcement, after he gave back the checks, he decided that wasn't enough. So unbeknownst, we said, rescind the increase to the employees. So now for the last 5 years, even though the cost has gone up substantially, for the last 5 years, our employees aren't seeing that increase. So every check they get now will be the same when they look at it, the same as it's been for 5 years for the health insurance cost, which is almost $500,000. So $1 million directly from the announcement. Thank you. And then to the point of some of the other things that came about of this, with regards to the depreciation changes, we had a 3-year plan to remodel 2,000 of our hotel rooms. We'd have to do 1 tower per year, and it's hard. That's not the optimal way to do things, because we'd hire a crew, we'd get them started, and then we'd have to fire them, and then 6 months later hire another crew. And when the rules came out and we looked at it, we decided that we could take advantage of some of the capital that got freed up, and instead of spending $30 million in 36 months, we're now going to spend $30 million in 18 months. We're going to keep those guys working. We're going to get a premium room product on the floor available to the public a lot faster to take advantage of some of the things that these guys are talking about. 15,000 new rooms are coming online, 3.8 million square feet coming online. I think it's $18 billion in construction, either being planned or underway. Las Vegas Stadium, 4 miles down the street. So a lot of those things are due to you, and we just want to thank you for everything you've done. We want to thank you for being here, all the other panelists. It's a great honor. And my friend Jason here is one of our employees, Jason Monhay. He runs our Baja Miguel's Mexican restaurant, and he has a fabulous story regarding this property, and if I could, I'd love to ask him just to tell it.
Go ahead, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate that. Mr. President, good afternoon. How are you? So I began my career here back in 2008 of August. I worked my way up the ranks and started as a busboy here and was able to, through hard work and determination, make my way up into a managing position at the restaurant, at one of our 11 restaurants here on property. With that being said, I also have a family member here who works here as well, which is my mother. Couldn't have done it without her support and the support of my family as well. She has been a day one employee here at the South Point, which opened back up in December of 2005, so she's been here since then. I am not only a manager, but also a family man. My wife, Martha, is my rock. She's actually here today, supporting. Thank you. And we have 2 wonderful boys back at home. Oscar is 4 and Diego is 2. And your tax cuts enabled our owner, Michael Gahn, like Ryan said, to give back $1 million collectively to all of his employees, myself included. And you have no idea what that's meant for my family. So thank you very much for that.
Well, thank you, Jason. That's very nice. Very, very nice. Thank you. And Jason, great hair, number 1. And Ryan, say hello to Michael, friend of mine, great guy. He's done an incredible job, really. So give him my regards. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Please, Richard.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. It's an honor and privilege to be here with you today. I'm a co-owner of Silver State Hay, and the real heart and soul of the company is my wife, Elisa, who also owns it with me. Go ahead.
I was born and raised here in Las Vegas, Nevada. My mom's from Cuba, my dad's from Indiana, and they met here in junior high and have been together since. I'm the oldest of 6 and met my wonderful husband here in Las Vegas.
Mr. President, I was born in Chicago, Illinois, raised in Lexington, Kentucky area, enlisted in the Marine Corps about 2 weeks after high school. Transitioned off of active duty in the western part of the United States, accepted employment here in Las Vegas where I met my beautiful wife. We have 2 children together, our son Nicholas and daughter Kira.
We're very blessed to have our beautiful children. My daughter's here in the audience with us today. We own a family-owned business. We're 3rd generation owning it. My grandmother started it. She was a horse trader and a trainer. She got tired of getting ripped off. So she decided to go to the farms herself directly and start buying the hay herself and start selling to friends and neighbors. And my dad took that business and made it an actual business. So he began selling around the city here to different feed stores and ranches, and now we own the business.
Yeah, Ron, her father, approached us in 2009 to take over the business, which we did, invested a little money into it, expanded it, and now have customers from pretty much the entire southwestern region of the United States and do over $1 million in sales a year. That's great. Yes, sir.
We've even done some overseas shipping recently, so that was pretty cool too. People ask me, what I do for a living, and when I tell them I sell hay and live in Las Vegas, they kind of give me that crazy look. I'm like, yeah, we have horses here, I promise. But, sir, your tax cuts have really helped our business. They really have, and we appreciate that. I was able to hire another family member due to some of the money we've been saving, and we've had a recent increase in sales, about 30% increase this year so far. Our customers are confident in the economy right now. So before they were barely making it, barely able to afford their hay, and right now they're actually stocking up. So that's been a huge, huge benefit for us and for them as well.
Also, Mr. President, your tax cuts have benefited our family just with the significant increase in the standard deduction as well as the child tax credit. We stand to gain about $1,650 next year alone, which just isn't a drop in the bucket. Bottom line, Mr. President, we appreciate your efforts for the tax cuts under your leadership, and thank you for the boost in money in all of our pockets. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, thank you very much. A very good team, isn't it? Back and forth. Now, did you practice that? That was really good timing. Thank you very much, Bob.
Thank you.
So a friend of mine, somebody that's really been in the trenches with us, he fought very hard with all of the Republicans. We had no Democrat support. It was too bad. And I think it's going to come back to haunt them. But Dean Heller, Senator Dean Heller, has been somebody that really got in there, and he fought as hard as anybody I know to make sure that you got that tax cut and reform, and that everybody else in our country got it, and they're very happy about it. And the Democrats are actually now saying they've got a problem because it's worked out far better than anyone thought. And when you add the regulations and all of the other things we've been doing, it's a great combination. And while you're all talking about the economy is doing well, it's going to get a lot better. Expensing is something, Ryan, that, as you call him your boss, Michael, would know very much about. But one-year expensing is, I think, going to be the sleeper in the bill. We have another where literally trillions of dollars are going to come back into the country. Apple has already agreed they're going to be investing $350 billion. They're bringing approximately $230 billion back from overseas, where you would have never seen that money again without what we did in terms of the reform on the tax cuts. So there's just one example where Apple's spending $350 billion. And you have many companies doing that. You have many, many companies. They're spending money, and it's really something very beautiful to see. It's jobs, it's imagination, it's so many different elements are at play, but our country is doing really well, and it's going to even do better. We're working very hard on the border with the immigration. We have to be very strong on immigration, but we have to let people in, the right people, where we have a merit-based system. We're developing a beautiful merit-based system so we can fill all of the jobs that you all created. And that's working out very good. But we do have to be very strong. And if we're not, you're going to have millions and millions of people come up, and it's not going to be a good situation. It'll be a very bad situation. If you look at what the Democrats are doing, and Dean understands this better than anybody, if you look at what they're doing, they want to have a very weak border, very open border, and that's going to lead to tremendous crime and a lot of problems for a lot of people, including jobs. It's going to be a very bad situation. So we're working very hard on it. It'll get done. It'll get done properly. We have to be very vigilant and strong, but a lot of good things are happening. So I want to just introduce Dean Heller, a real champion, a hard worker, and a total winner. And he's got a tough race, but I think I saw a poll just a little while ago that looks very, very promising, very good. Even beyond what we thought. I don't even want to tell you because maybe you'll ease up, and I don't want him to ease up because it's going to be a tough race. But he's going to win that race, and we need you back in Washington, and he has really been an incredible messenger. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you very much for coming to Nevada, coming back to Nevada. You've been here many times, and for us here in Nevada, and listening to you and hearing the issues that you discuss, healthcare, immigration, crime, tax issues, all of these issues, how the economy is doing is important for all of us. So I want to thank you for all your hard work and effort. I'm going to share a quick story that I shared earlier. I've been with the president all day today, so he may get tired of listening to me at this point. But having said that, I want to thank our panelists that are here today. I want to thank the Labor Secretary also. And Mr. President, you've heard stories from a bunch of Nevadans here today, and there's a lot more out here in this audience. I want to thank everybody that is here, having an opportunity to listen to this president. Isn't it great to have a chance to have him in front of us? But I want to share one quick story that I shared earlier, and this meant a lot to me, and that's probably why I'm sharing it. But in the very depths of the tax reform package and the struggles and the fights, and as the president said, we didn't have any support from the other side of the aisle, so we had to get it right. I spent time with his Treasury Secretary, Steve Mnuchin, and he called me in. In fact, we were having breakfast together, and we were getting into the depths of this and just making sure that this tax package that came out of Congress would do exactly the benefits that we heard around this table today. But Treasury Secretary said to me, I want to show you something. And it was a framed article that was on the wall next to his desk. It was a Wall Street Journal article, and it was their announcement that the president, President Trump, had just nominated him as Treasury Secretary. And the president cut this article out and sent it to the Treasury Secretary, and what he wrote on it was what was important. And on it, the president wrote 5% GDP. Now keep in mind, we had been wallowing in less than 2% GDP for the last 10 years. And this guy gets nominated Treasury Secretary, and the message that he gets from his boss is, I want 5% GDP. Where are we today, Mr. President?
We're doing very well. You've probably seen 3.2, which people would have said would have been impossible. And there's only a projection, so who knows what that means. But the Atlanta Fed just predicted 4.8, right?
Something like
4.8.
that. Yeah, 4.8. Think about that.
Who knows what it'll be. I will say this. Each point is said to be $3 trillion. Think of that. So, a point, 2 points, 3 points. But each point is said to be $3 trillion. And each point is said to be 10 million jobs. So I think we're going to do very well. And we're going higher than that number ultimately.
Mr. President, I just want everybody here in the room, and they all know it, and these are all my friends out here and your friends. I just want everybody to know how hard this administration works every single day to create these kind of jobs. And the fact that just the fact that you have a Treasury Secretary who says to me every day I come to work, I look on the wall and I know exactly what my boss wants. I think that sends a message not only to that office, but also across the board to everybody else that works in this administration. Mr. President, thank you for coming to Nevada. Thank you for taking time. Thanks for all the hard work you do.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to thank all the people of Nevada. It's been just a great place from my standpoint. Nevada is special. It's been so many friends just in the audience. We have to get our friend into office. We need him there very badly. If that doesn't happen, and if other things would happen, you're going to have a massive tax increase, and you're going to have a regulation increase, and it's not going to be a good situation. A lot of bad things will go on, and we can't let that happen. It's going to be a nasty race. It's already started to be nasty. Pretty much all of them are, for some reason. Nobody really knows why. But, it has been this way before. I said to one of the senators, Dean, I said, has it always been this nasty? And I won't tell you which 2 or 3 administrations, but he's been around a long time. He named 3 different times when he thought it was worse. I said, that's pretty hard to believe. But it's tough stuff, but we're winning. We're winning like nobody's ever won before, and we want to keep it going. So get Adam and get Dean and get them in there, and I'll be back a lot. Thank you all much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Melissa Ash and I am here in our headquarters in Auburn, Alabama. We're still setting up my studio elsewhere, so I apologize for any audio delay or static, but we're going to do the best we can. Just sharing with you guys. We had a great roundtable just now, and I've loved seeing your comments and interacting with you guys. So if you have any questions at all, make sure to say them right here in the chat, and you can direct message me on Twitter as well, and I will show you right here how to do that. It is down here on the lower third at Alyssa RSBN. So if you have any comments or questions, you can send them to my Twitter. But yeah, I'm just going to tell you guys kind of my thoughts, highlights that we heard from this roundtable. Now, President Trump had a very busy day. He has been in campaign mode all day. He came for a fundraiser for Senator Dean Heller, and now doing this roundtable. But I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background. So today's visit was actually his second trip to Southern Nevada since taking the Oval Office. And so he, spoke with just everyone, just broadcasted to the entire country about trade, about tax reform, and about the good things from the bill. And so it was really cool kind of getting that different perspective from business leaders and those at the Drew that are just really involved. It was really cool also hearing the manager of one of their restaurants, Jason Manahay, telling his story. He just worked his way up from a busboy, and now he's a manager. So that is really cool just to see the perspective from different business leaders and just the general American working class telling their stories. And President Trump is really good at, hearing their stories, getting to know people. Guys, he's so busy. He travels all over the country. He doesn't stop, and he's really educated, and he really knows the stories about all these different areas and, things that he wants to touch on. So, some different things that he said. President Trump said the greatest tax cuts and reform in our country. They're the biggest that they've ever been. The regulation cuts are the biggest in history. And then for smaller businesses, there's no estate tax whatsoever. And small businesses really are the heartbeat of America. And so it's very beautiful to see them being taken care of. And then President Trump shared a statistic from the Heritage Foundation that 64 of the top items on the tax reform bill have already been implemented, and they've never been done, that quickly ever with any other tax reform bill in history. So that is a big deal. And he talked about U.S. Steel expanding and aluminum. And we just saw that at our last rally in Minnesota. He was talking to different, miners, steel workers, because they have a huge steel industry there. And President Trump also talked about how we lost $817 billion on trade last year. And he really doesn't, want that to happen again. He talked about just some of the unfair tariffs and how when China sends us a car, we, they put a 25% tax on it, and when we send them a car, it's like a 2.2% tax. But, he did talk about how things were getting better with the president of China, and he was very helpful with the border in North Korea as well. And then we also heard from a real estate investor, Steve Witkoff, who is a friend of President Trump and had the Fontainebleau Foundation, and now moving on to the Drew, which is named after his son that has passed away. And so that was really cool just to learn about what's going on in Las Vegas exactly. And let's see, I'm going to also tell you guys a little bit. Okay, Senator Dean Heller that President Trump was fundraising for today, he's really been putting in the work. He also supports strong borders, as does President Trump. And so we heard him speak a little, and President Trump, endorsing him as well. And President Trump talked about Apple bringing billions of dollars back from overseas, along with many other companies. and how, he also flopped a little bit and talked about, such a hot topic in the media right now, border control, how he's developing a merit-based system for letting people into the U.S., and the Democrats want a very weak, open border. And so I am going to show you guys real quick, just backing up a little bit of tweets when President Trump was heading to Las Vegas for his activities today. Let me get that pulled up for you guys. He tweeted earlier today, he said, heading to Nevada to talk trade and immigration with supporters. Country's economy is stronger than ever before, with numbers that are getting better by the week. Tremendous potential and trade deals are coming along well. And then we also had a tweet, if I can pull that up for you guys. Let me just search it. I had it pulled up, but it looks like it's gone, from Senator Dean Heller. And earlier he said, looking forward to welcoming POTUS this morning to Southern Nevada to discuss how tax reform is transforming our state, workers, and family at an event this afternoon at South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa. Now I'm going to switch it over. It looks like I just got a question on Twitter from Roy Blevins. Will you all be going to the next rally in North Dakota? Yes, we will. We will all be going to Fargo, North Dakota. Tom O'Neill, one of our fantastic reporters, is actually driving 15 hours. So, we really appreciate you guys' support. We're not able to do this without your donations. So if you are able to donate, there are different ways you can do that. You can click the $sign on our chat box right here on YouTube, and we did have some donations earlier from Funky Blue and from Jesus is Lord, and let me see, another one. I commented and thanked earlier, but it looks like it's lost in the stream now. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for that. And you can also donate on patreon.com. That's Patreon with an E/RSBN. And you can donate directly on our website through PayPal, and 100% of the PayPal funds come to us. And so we're very thankful for that. Whereas if you donate on YouTube, YouTube gets 30% of it. And if you want, you can also donate to our home address. And I'm actually going to pull that up for you guys real quick on the RSBN website, which we did just get a new website. We were rsbn.tv, now we're rsbnetwork.com. So if you just go there, you can see our beautiful website created by our CEO, Joe Seals. And right here at the top, you can click donate. And it has the links to PayPal, to Patreon for the monthly donation, which is where you can receive some of the fun RSBN stuff, such as hats and mugs and pens and different things. And you can also see our address right here, 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344 in Auburn, Alabama, 36830. So that is right there if you guys want to donate. And I'm gonna head back over to the stream, show you guys myself, and let's see. I have a few more facts for you, some background about just in case you're not familiar. But before that, it looks like I just got a English donation. Thank you so much, from Alex Sprott, $10, thanking me for what I do, well, all of us at RSBN, and all the way from England. Thank you so much, really appreciate that. And I'm going to tell you guys kind of, if you're not familiar, because honestly I did have to do some research myself about the tax reform. So according to the U.S. Congress's Committee on Ways and Means, the main things that the tax reform is doing is simplifying the tax process, preserving the mortgage interest deduction, eliminating Obamacare's individual mandate penalty tax, increasing the standard deduction, providing more support to American families, providing relief for Americans with expensive medical bills, improving savings for educations. Now, nearly everyone will have lower tax rates if your incomes remains the same in 2018, and there will be lower marginal tax income rates. So in case you're not familiar with that, I'm going to show you guys a quick screen capture. I found some charts on Dave Ramsey's website, but he got them from the marginal income tax rate and brackets website. So I will show you guys that real quick. And as you can see, in 2017, you know, there are different amounts taken off depending on what you make, and it kind of builds up on that. So we have, you know, 10% from $0 to $9,000, 15% from $93,26 to $37,950,000. And then you can see, just to compare, so we've got 10, 15, 25, 28, 33, 35, 39.6%, and it just increases. But here in 2018, 10%, you know, compared to the original 10, so that one stayed the same. 12% compared to the 15, so you can see a drop off there. 22% compared to the 25, so you can see a 3% drop off there, and then a 4% drop off from the 28 to the 24. So, you know, just doing some simple math, but you can see the differences there. And so this is a really helpful tool if you have any questions about the differences in the new income tax bill, in the tax reform bill. Just go to daveramsey.com/blog/tax-reform-bill. So that was super helpful to me, just learning a little bit more about it. And then, of course, there are some deductions that are disappearing. They didn't make it past the chopping block, unfortunately, in the new tax reform bill. So casualty and theft losses, except for those attributable to a federally declared disaster, you know, such as hurricanes, floods, things like that. Unreimbursed employee expenses, tax preparation expenses, alimony payments, moving expenses, and employer subsidized parking and transportation reimbursement. But it says, don't worry, teachers can still deduct classroom supplies. You know, I have a lot of friends from North Greenville University that went into the teaching profession, and they're going to be very thankful that they are going to be able to deduct those classroom supplies, you know, pens, crayons, notebook, glue, hand sanitizer, tissues. There's so many things that they're going to want to deduct. So anyways, just because of how complicated this new tax reform plan is, it is good. It's a very good year to get a tax advisor. I know many of you are using those programs like Quicken Loans, but they're not going to be as updated to a lot of these changes. So it really is a good year to use a tax advisor. And those that use a tax advisor compared to those who just use online programs will receive an average of $791 more back from the IRS. So that is just very important to note. So let's check back over here to the YouTube chat, seeing if you guys have any other questions. It looks like someone asked, wait a minute, it looks like we just got a $20 donation from Trying Lilies. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. And someone asked if you guys were arguing over food. I don't know if maybe you guys were in the chat, but we do talk about food here a lot on RSBN, but I'm going to wait to do that until I am back with my crew in North Dakota next week. We are looking and figuring out if there is Ethernet and internet available, so we can just hardwire that connection and not have technical difficulties this time. So guys, please keep that in your prayers and thoughts that we are able to get that connection. That's going to be so important this time, and we'll actually have a different cameraman this time, Micah, and so I am very excited to meet him. I never have before, so that'll be really a fun time, such a great experience. And you know, I'm so thankful to be able to go to all of these different rallies, cities all over the United States. It's such a blessing. It looks like we just got a donation from one of our subscribers with one of my favorite names, Jesus is Lord 5454, $5. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And they said, check your messages on Twitter. Also, I have followed you. I love you all. Thank you so much for the follow. And I am checking my messages right now. Let's see. I got one from Bill Douglas. He said, I thank you and your organization for the wonderful donation you made to my mission a few months ago. May the Lord bless you. On a second note, what do you think of the tax cuts? Long term, will they be good for the economy? And I'll answer that question before I get to your next one. I do think that they will be good for the economy long term, but we'll kind of have to see how that plays out, and also hoping that President Trump is reelected in 2020, because, you know, if we have a Democrat take office after him, it's going to be a very different course, just kind of honestly probably undoing a lot of his progress. But I'm really hoping and believing that you know, all of his accomplishments are long term, because he has had so much to do after everything the Obama administration has done. And it was interesting, even just at the speech he had in Las Vegas at the GOP convention before his roundtable, he was saying how many things the Obama administration left for him. And that was kind of funny. You know, he was like, oh, immigration, leave it for Trump. Oh, North Korea, leave it for Trump. Oh, tax reform, leave it for Trump. And so that was really funny. And also Bill Douglas asked, will you be covering the president appearance at a rally in South Carolina on Tuesday? We will not be there. I think it might be Monday, but either Monday or Tuesday. We're not going to Columbia because it is not funded by the President Trump campaign. It's Henry McMaster's campaign, and it's really small and at a high school, and so we really wouldn't be able to get great signal and be able to share that with you guys. And it is super tight and close to North Dakota. But of course, if there are any changes to that, we will update you on all of our social medias. You know, you can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course here on YouTube. So let's see, checking over to our comments right now to see if anyone has any questions. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to say them in the comment box below. It looks like we also just got another donation, $2 from Stephen John Asante. Thank you so much for that. It was really interesting, you know, today during the round table, I kind of thought they were going to talk about the tax reform bill a little bit more, and it seemed like they focused on their property and how it has, how the tax reform bill has impacted their property in Las Vegas, Nevada, which was fine as well. It was really interesting to hear a lot of their stories. We also heard from, what was her name? I can't remember her last name, but Barbara, one of the property managers there, and then Alex Acosta, the U.S. Labor Secretary, spoke, and let's see, who else? And of course, Attorney General Adam Laxalt is running for governor. So this was just a really good way for President Trump to interact with the people of Las Vegas, to hear their stories, and to really see just the fruits of his work and just to see how it specifically affected Las Vegas. So I'm going to check real quick over to Twitter and see if Attorney General Alex Acosta has said anything about this. You know, some politicians are more active on Twitter than others, but it's still always good to check. You can see here on Fox Business, they're talking about new healthcare plans will lower costs for small businesses. Secretary of Labor, Alex Acosta. But I'm looking for his, here we go, Secretary Acosta. Let's see if he tweeted anything. He did. Heading to Las Vegas, Nevada with POTUS today for a roundtable discussion on how tax reform and USDOL's Association health plans reform will help Nevada families. Now, they didn't really touch on families as much, but it is still very good to see him, you know, caring about families, because at the end of the day, President Trump really does care about the traditional American family, and everything that he does kind of has that trickle-down effect and impacts, you know, our families, just from, you know, the money that you guys make, putting food on your tables to impact your families. So it is good that Secretary Acosta is kind of talking about that as well. And let me see, I'm trying to see if I have anything else to share for you guys from my research. The roundtable discussion was expected to be about 45 minutes, and I think that I would say it was pretty close to that. And then it was really cool, like I said earlier, just to hear the personal stories of those business leaders there. Like the property manager talked about how she is a longtime Las Vegas resident and how she has raised her family there and just working for the Drew. And they're all really excited about that growth. And, you know, I've been saying the Drew, and you're probably like, okay, Alyssa, what's the Drew? Why do we care? So I'm going to show you guys real quick the Drew in Las Vegas. Very beautiful property, and it is still being built, I believe. It was the former Fontainebleau that's been on the north end of the strip for nearly a decade. And they were talking about different things that it would include, even an equestrian center and a bowling alley, of course, different pools and things. And, you know, I've never been to Las Vegas myself, but have any of you guys please comment right here and, you know, tell a little bit about your experiences. And I would love to share that with everyone if you want, of course, and, you know, hopefully some of the better, more appropriate ones. And someone just asked, is there a Trump rally tonight? No, there is not. And it looks like we just got a $20 donation from S Blaster. Thank you so much for that. He said, great job, Alyssa. This is what I'm talking about. I hope there are many more of these to come. Long live the Right Side Broadcasting Network. Thank you so much, S Blaster. We really appreciate that. Guys, in case you're not familiar, S Blaster is a regular on the chat. He's always here supporting and encouraging us. And Tom O'Neill, one of our great super fun reporters, actually wrote a poem about him. So if you guys haven't seen that, head back over to our Nashville rally stream. It is absolutely hilarious. Tom is fantastic. He is so good at getting to know you guys in the chat room and super involved in politics himself. I just saw something he tweeted. He's at some Young Republicans convention but he's always, you know, writing different things. So if you want Tom to write you something, comment right here and I will let him know. Let's see, it looks like Craig told me on Twitter that he's tuning in from Australia. Thank you so much for watching over there. And let's see, guys, remember, if you have any questions about the roundtable today, you can message me on Twitter and I will pull that up for you guys real quick. That's at Alyssa RSBN. And you can also follow our other reporters as well. Tara's is TERA RSBN, at Tara RSBN. And I believe Liz's is just Liz Willis. And then we have, of course, our CEO, Joe Seals, and Tom O'Neill. I think OH is at the end of his, but you can also see, oh yeah, Tom O'Neill OH. They are all down here on this little ticker bar under RSBN. On Twitter, Colonial Mike Jones said, love the new format. Thank you so much. We are, you know, experimenting with a lot of different things right now in this transition season. So it's crazy and it's exciting, and we're just all over the place, you know, going all over the country, traveling to these rallies. There's no other news station like us that just goes to all these rallies, because, you know, we're not a mainstream media. We're not Fox News, we're not CNN, we're not MSNBC, we're not like a local affiliate. You know, we don't just go in real quick for our hit and head out. We are there all day long, which of course I know some of the other cameramen are there all day long as well, but you know, some of the reporters get to just go in and out. We're there all day. We're interviewing people, hearing their stories, and it was really good when we were in Duluth, Minnesota, and everyone was just wrapped around waiting in this parking garage, and we got to interview them there, which was kind of nice because, you know, it was shaded, although it was really hot in the skywalk area, which was kind of stretched over the highway. A lady did pass out. I think she is okay, but that was really scary and hard to hear. But, you know, it kind of just shows how committed President Trump's followers are and how they're going to go with him anywhere. If it's in driving distance, flying distance, wherever it is, they're going to be there and they're going to support him. It looks like I just got a $20 donation from Nate Skate. RSBN rally coverage is the best. Thank you. Alyssa, have you read any of the Trump books like Art of the Deal? I have not yet, unfortunately, Nate Skate, but it is on my list. I know I need to. And it looks like I just got a comment from one of our moderators as well. And I forgot to say, Liz's Twitter is at _Liz Willis, LIZWILLIS. And then someone asked, are all 4 events over with for today? Yes, they are. President Trump should be heading back to Washington, D.C. right now. So guys, thank you so much for your donations. We're not able to do what we do without those. And I'm checking right now to see if I got any more messages from you guys on Twitter. And I'm so thankful for that. Something I really love that's super unique about RSBN is how interactive it is, because, you know, with a lot of the other medias, you're not able to just have this interaction. And so I think it's super fun and I really enjoy talking to you guys. That is my favorite thing about this job, is just being able to give you guys accurate information, because I believe that if you have the facts, then it is your choice and your decision about, you know, what to do with that. Even though we are, we lean conservative, we try to be unbiased to the highest degree as well. So let's see, seeing if we have any more questions. Light Switch said that he loved Tom's poem. Thank you so much for that. And let's see. Like I said, there is not a President Trump rally tonight. And Funky Blue said, wow, you guys walked away and just came back in nice donations. And that is something really cool as well to see in our chat box. Everyone kind of just supporting each other and supporting RSBN. We have such amazing people that even during all of the, you know, technical issues, you guys still donate, and we are so thankful for that, because we're not able to do that without you guys as well. So thank you so much for that. And also huge shout out to our fantastic moderators. Guys, thank you so much for all your hard work. They, you know, volunteer completely for free. They might receive like a coffee cup or something here and there, but thank you so much for keeping our chat clean and safe. We would not, possibly can't do it without you. And also, I wanted to reiterate real quick, I know I already said it, but if you guys aren't sure how to donate, I'm going to show you real quick different ways, and I'm going to actually start with the old-fashioned way. You can mail your donation, of course, if you are not comfortable paying online, which is totally understandable, to 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344 in Auburn, Alabama, 36830. I'm going to grab a sip of water real quick. And I'll show you guys, you know, I told you last time, but I didn't exactly show you how you can get there. If you want to go through PayPal, you can just click this link, and it's loading right now. Go directly to PayPal, and you just enter the amount and click donate with PayPal, or donate with a debit or credit card. And like I said before, 100% of the PayPal donations do come directly to us. And let's see, also you can donate on patreon.com, and you can see pictures of us at the last two rallies. So this has been updated. At the Nashville rally, of course, you can use the entry level, which is $1 a month. And there is the bronze level for $8 a month, where you get access to RSBN VIP Facebook group, plus all previous rewards, which are stated in the entry level, a thank you email from RSBN, access to Patreon only, or patron only, I'm sorry, content, and to vote in the patron only polls. And then there is the silver level for $15 a month. You can do a live on-air shout out to you during a news broadcast, and a signed digital poster with all crew, plus all previous rewards. There's a gold level for $30, platinum level for $50, diamond for $100, double diamond for $250, and all access level for $500 a month. And you know, some of you are very generous to donate that as well, and we're very thankful for that. I'm not going to read to you all of the benefits, but I just wanted to show you guys this in case you were curious. And then of course you can donate on the YouTube chat as well, in the super chat, just where the dollar signs are. And I'm going to switch it back over real quick to me. It looks like I got a comment about the audio not being that great. I'm sorry, guys. I know that's a pet peeve for many of you. It is for me as well, you know, being a broadcast media major, but we are just working with this mic in here right now. But as soon as I get into my studio, it'll be that higher tech directional mic, and so it'll sound a little bit better without echo. So let's see, I'm gonna click on over to the YouTube chat and see if you guys have any questions or interesting comments on here. Looks like we've got an Auburn University grad from 1985. Hey, Tom Pickett. Oh, and it looks like, okay, I just missed a couple donations. Thank you so much. $5 from War Damn Eagle 03942, War Eagle, War Trump, War RSBN. Thank you so much for that. And $10 from Carl Peterson, who is a regular. He said, RSBN is simply the best. Thank you all for a great Saturday afternoon. MAGA. Thank you so much for that, Carl Peterson. We really, really appreciate that. Oh, and it looks like $2 from Hello Kitty Big Fun. Excited to see you on the air. Thank you so much, Hello Kitty. Really appreciate that. And someone said it's all about passion for the real president, Donald J. Trump. TC said that. Thank you so much, TC. It is really interesting, you know, not thank you to me, but thank you to President Donald Trump. It really is so unique just how he is so real. You know, he says what he thinks, he says what he means, and he is not politically correct in any way at all. He just kind of goes for it. He gives people nicknames. Right now, Wacky Jackie is trending on Twitter. That he said earlier during the GOP convention speech, and he really just says what he thinks, he says what he believes, and he absolutely does not hold back. And that was really interesting when I was when we were all at the rally in Duluth, Minnesota. I was interviewing these 3 young girls, and they all kind of just said the same thing about how they like President Trump. I said, what's your favorite thing about him? And they said he's just very strong, he says what he thinks, and he keeps his stance. And that was really interesting to see. And again, very thankful to see a lot of young supporters that were out there at the rally. There were so many that we were able to interview and hear from, and they were pretty educated about the issues as well, which was very, very good. Just that people are getting involved young in politics. I think it is so important for people to get involved at a young age, to know what's going on in their country, because so many people don't, you know, my generation, Generation Z, a lot of them just don't care. They don't want to engage in it just because of how dirty and crazy politics can be. But if you can just see past all of that and focus on the issues, that would be a lot more beneficial. And it looks like I just got a question from my dad, Gregory Ash. Thank you for that. Do you think that President Trump is treated unfairly by the Democrats in Congress? Of course I do. They do not respect him, you know, whether it's the Democrats or the mainstream media. They are always looking for the flaws in everything, you know, that he does. You know, of course there are some Democrats that are a little more respectable to him, but I think for the most part, most of them are pretty disrespectful to him. You know, even though he's the president of the United States, at the end of the day, they're focused on their agenda and, of course, not his. So, to answer your question in a word, yes, I do. And I am checking over to Twitter real quick to see if anyone else has any questions or concerns. Let me see. Colonial Mike Jones said, what do you think is the best part of the tax reform package? Also, there is nothing President Trump could do that would make the liberals acknowledge it. All these people have more money in their pockets now because of tax cuts, yet they will still vote the other way because the Dems say so. Sad. And to answer your question, I do think that the best part is, you know, the tax cuts, just so people aren't paying as much and they are able, you know, I think our country is definitely in a better place when the government is smaller and is not taking as much away from the people. And so I think it's really good, so people will be able to invest that money back into their families, into their communities, and just use it for different things that will increase their overall well-being. And let's see. We got a comment from one of our moderators, JC, saying to like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram with all of our Twitter handles. And I will show you guys once again my Twitter handle right here. It'll come up, is at AlyssaRSBN. And I try to be as active on Twitter as I can. It's such a great place to see what's going on, and I love interacting with you guys on Twitter as well, because your voices are why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this for myself, but I'm doing this for you guys, and to just serve the Lord so that my voice can be heard and I can kind of use my platform to glorify Jesus. That is my goal. And so I'm really thankful that Twitter is one of the ways that I can do that. And let me see. It looks like I got a request from April Johansson. But before I read that, a big thank you to Robbie Bob Nashville Now. $5. You're doing great. Extend the conversation. Thank you so much, Robbie Bob. Really appreciate that. April Johansson said, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, a backstory? Yes, I'll give you guys a quick little snippet, but also if you want to see the whole thing, head back over to last week and you can see the Q&A I did where I told my full story for 2 hours and answered you guys' questions about myself. That was a really fun broadcast and really easy as well, honestly, to just, you know, of course, talk about myself. It sounds narcissistic, but everyone's really good at talking about themselves the most at the end of the day. But just to answer your question, April, a little bit of a backstory. So I moved around a lot, so I love to travel. I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and at the age of 5, I moved to Houston, Texas. We were in League City, kind of near the Galveston Bay on the water, and it was really pretty. And then at the age of 9, after evacuating a hurricane, we moved to Greenville, South Carolina, and then we moved back to Texas for a year and then back to South Carolina. And so for college, I stayed in South Carolina in Tigerville. It's a really small town, 30 minutes north of Greenville, which is one of the growing cities in the upstate of South Carolina. And there I studied broadcast media. I had a variety of jobs and internships, from a legal assistant to an event coordinator, to an administrative assistant, to a news intern, a public relations intern at a lighting industry, Hubble Lighting Incorporated, and just a lot of different experiences. I love people. I'm an extrovert. I love hearing people's stories and getting to know them. I love to travel. I love mission trips. I've only been on 2, but they were fantastic and some of the most life-changing experiences I've ever had, to Uruguay and to Guatemala. And you can actually see news packages of both of my mission trips on my YouTube channel, which is just Alyssa Ash. So if you want to see that, honestly, it's kind of more of a portfolio. It's not an active channel because, you know, now I'm active here. But if you want to see those, they're there. So there it is to answer your question, April. And like I said, you can go back to last week to the Q&A if you would like to see all of my questions answered there. And it looks like I just got $5 from Carl Peterson. Love you, Alyssa. Thank you so much, Carl. And Stephen John Asante donated $5 again. Thank you so much, Stephen. Come interview me in Houston. Thank you so much. And yeah, I absolutely love, you know, Houston, Texas. It's a beautiful city. It's very hot and humid, but a lot of fun. And it looks like someone commented, what does this have to do with the tax reform, which we did stream and I did speak on a lot. So if you want to see that, please go back and rewind. There was a lot more background information I shared about the tax reform bill. I just don't want to be super repetitive and repeat myself. You can go back if you want to see that. And let's see. But yeah, for the most part, you are all commenting very positive things. So thank you for that. Super appreciative. And let's see. April said, what is the most exciting thing you would like to cover in your career? What person would you love to interview most? Are there any interviews on the schedule coming up with politicians? And now that you say that, April, yes. I have an interview scheduled on July 9th with the governor of Alabama, Kay Ivey, and so I am really excited for that. I have a lot of research to do, of course, for her, for that interview before that time, because I am not, you know, originally from Alabama, originally from South Carolina, so I have a lot, definitely have my work ahead of me, but I am very excited for that. And let's see, a funny comment from Elvis Presley. How did Donald Trump get so great? Diet, breeding. He's a genetic superhero. Elvis, to answer that, I think just the fact that he is not a typical politician, but that he is a businessman and millionaire. Oh, you guys are cracking me up. And then Truth Seeker shared some Bible verses for me, Proverbs 31:10 through 31. I will definitely go back and read that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm really thankful for the community here and just how I've been so absolutely welcomed. It has been such a blessing. And it looks like I just got, well, I'm sorry, RSBN, not me. Just got $2 from Little Lord Fulton Roy. Thank you so much for that. Really, really appreciate that donation, which will help us go to Fargo, North Dakota in just a few days. Guys, it's going to be such a great time. We're so excited and we have high hopes for this rally. So please make sure to stay tuned for that. And let's see. I think that's about all I have for you guys today. So if you have any other questions that you didn't think of right now that you think of later, Of course, please message me on Twitter at AlyssaRSBN, and you will be able to see that, and I'll be able to see your messages and interact with you guys. So thank you so much, and I hope you all have just a fantastic evening, and stay tuned for more great things coming from RSBN.